Welcome to the JBJ Management Podcast. Let's talk about it. I'm Willis Johnson.
And I'm Samantha Gordon.
So, Samantha, New Orleans is supposed to be one of the most darling cities in America. In fact, didn't you say I know one of your favorite topics is Taylor Swift. You met Taylor. Did you meet?
Gosh, I wish.
You saw.
Taylor, if you're watching this, please meet and greet. Would love it.
But you saw her in New Orleans.
I did.
What do you think of New Orleans?
This is going to be a hard answer because I have a very skewed version of New Orleans. So many people that we talked to when we were there to see Taylor Swift said, you're getting a different side of New Orleans. They have cleaned everything up. Everyone here is here to see Taylor Swift. And it was the nicest most people had ever seen it. Very cleaned up. They were making sure that all aspects of New Orleans was put together for Taylor Swift, if that makes sense. It was... Every single person there was there to see the concert. Everyone you talked to. The whole town got in on it. Every single bar, restaurant you walked into, everyone had friendship bracelets, all the servers, the staff. They were fantastic. They were so excited. They had menus that were all Taylor Swift themed. So they were ready for it. And this was she's driving revenue. So she was bringing so many people into the city and the whole entire town just leaned right into it. And so it was a lot of fun. Actually, I loved it. When her concert was over, we all left the Superdome and we walked down the street and we were walking with the entire crowd from the concert. It was wild. And it was probably midnight and everyone's like, oh, be careful when you're walking. And I mean, we were with a bunch of Swifties. I don't really think anything is going to happen to us, to be honest.
So you'd go back to New Orleans in a heartbeat.
I would. And because I don't know the other side of it. And that's kind of what everyone told me. They're like, oh, you just went and had a good time. You got lucky. And I was like, I loved it. I would go back in a heartbeat.
It has been the site of a number of Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. It has been the site of a number of religious conventions or conventions in general. But it also was the site, it was the place of Katrina, the hurricane, which some say was the most destructive hurricane in the history of America. 20 years ago, in August of 2005, Katrina hit. Now, 20 years later, New Orleans is smaller, wider, and more, I didn't say wider, whiter, wider, and it's more difficult to afford. What happened? What happened? Where did the Ninth Ward go? Where did people go? I don't know if you guys have seen. There's a. I don't know if it's on Netflix or Amazon. There's a special on Katrina 20 years later. This is when FEMA dropped the ball. This is when President Bush flew and didn't land. I mean, it was, New Orleans was not ready for what happened to it in August of 2025. And the people who lived there, they were born there, Samantha, they had to move. And they're now in Atlanta, Houston, Dallas. They never went back home. There was no place for them. So the black population is down by 100,000. Just think about that. That's a huge hole. So my thoughts are, one is that apparently America was never ready for a Category 5, and which, by the way, it did get there. It only got to 3. It got to 3, but it was a Category 5 disaster. So I went to New Orleans. There was a guy named Don Babers who worked for HUD years ago when I went there, right after Katrina, probably, 6 months afterwards. And here's what I remember. So imagine being in this room and you could see the water line. It was like 9 feet up where the water had been. You could see snake skins. Yeah, I know you're not a
Mm-mm.
big snake
I don't
lover,
like snakes.
but it's New Orleans. Listen, I know
There's
people.
snakes in New Orleans?
What?
Sorry.
I know we think about
I
the
don't know
food,
anything.
and they got gators. All kind of stuff is in.
I wasn't there. They left for Taylor Swift, that's for sure. No, I didn't know that. I'd assume that. But what kind of, like, poisonous snakes? Like, what kind of snakes are we talking?
Yeah, poisonous snakes.
We're derailing. Sorry. Sorry.
No,
This is a bad jump of topic.
imagine for people who had to move back home, and then they either their homes never were, and you know what's the other thing that never came back? The trees. This was a very destructive hurricane. And people didn't believe it. Think about all of the days. I think they were in the Superdome with no ventilation, with no sanitation. You're having to live in the Superdome because you got no other place to go. But New Orleans is this darling place. It's Bourbon Street, people do Mardi Gras and all of that, but it's not the same. And so my question is, who failed New Orleans? What happened in New Orleans? And if you ever lived in New Orleans, if you ever visited New Orleans, what do you think about New Orleans then versus now? The workforce changed in New Orleans, and people never had a chance to come back. So I want you to imagine, you're from Austin, Texas. Something happened in Austin and you could never go home again. How would you feel if you could never? Now, I know you don't like Austin.
Oh, no. Oh, they're going to come for me for that one. I love Austin.
Oh, that's
I
not what
love
you've been
Austin.
saying. That's not what you've been saying, but okay.
I love Austin. I like my life in Dallas. I love my life in Dallas, but I love Austin too.
Well, what if the option was taken away to ever go back to Austin? How would you feel?
Heartbroken, for sure. I feel like that's a piece of my life, my childhood. That's a piece of who I am, the story, that how I got to this moment. I feel like Austin was a big part of that, and where I grew up in that city and learning a lot from that city. So I would be heartbroken for sure.
So that feeling that you have, there are a number of people who are listening and looking who have that same feeling about New Orleans. They never had a chance to go back home. They never had a chance to go back to their homestead, their old school. And when they went back, everything was gone. It's changed. The whole city is different. It's down to under 400,000 people, and the black population went down. The workforce went down. It's amazing. That one hurricane had an effect on a city that may be into eternity. And so I just don't think we think about, we're done with it. But it's 20 years now. I bring it up because it's been 20 years since New Orleans was engulfed by that hurricane. So we're in the tornado alley. And if you're in Houston or if you're in Galveston, you also have to deal with hurricanes. But when you guys hear about a tornado warning and they tell you to take cover, do you really?
I haven't, no. I will say I had to learn. I didn't even know what the sirens were. The sirens go off every first Wednesday of the month at noon. I had no idea what that was. I was outside at one point and I remember asking someone, I was like, what's going on? Is this like the start of the apocalypse? I had no idea. So it was a learning curve for me when I moved to Dallas to know you had to take shelter. I had to call somebody and say, where's the shelter in my home? Because I don't know where that is.
Well, because you have people who, they don't believe that it's ever going to bother them, that it's going to be fine. And more often than not, it does, but not for everybody. And so On this 20th anniversary this year, 2025, I say to New Orleans, big ups to the people who are from New Orleans. Not happy about what the federal government, what FEMA, how they failed you. But for those of you who are from New Orleans and you never had a chance to go home, we give you big ups. We give you big love. And we say welcome to Dallas. We say welcome to Houston. We say welcome to Atlanta. But I feel pain because you've never been able to go back home. That's our JBJ Management Podcast today. I'm Willis Johnson.
And I'm Samantha Gordon.
We'll see you on the next podcast.